How do you even teach someone magic? Saf asked herself, as Fengi sat down on the floor in front of her chair. This was a job for someone like a Puma or Lincosta. They were trained in this, after all. Saf herself had just done a lot of trial and error. That was how she had learned. Many nights spent sitting alone in her room, trying basic things like moving a twig a bit, or seeing if she could lift a feather. She still had that feather, actually, come to think of it. That was neither here nor there, though. She somehow needed to teach Fengi how to use her magic in the span of an afternoon, not months' worth of mucking about. Right, okay. Can you feel anything when you use it? I don't think so, Fengi replied uncertainly, clearly trying to think back. Okay. I'm fairly sure you should be able to. I certainly can. What did you do when you found out? I shouted to Glira to stand up, Fengi replied almost questioningly. That's a start. Try doing that to me then. Maybe try willing me to do something at the same time, I don't know. Try and see if you can feel anything when you do. Okay. Sapphire, salute me, Fengi went, staring at Saf with what Saf would describe as murderous intent. That's not doing much if I'm honest, Saf replied, trying to feel if she all of a sudden wanted to do a salute, while coming to terms with the very unfamiliar-looking Fengi. She was always a happy face of the keep. Well, either that or sad. She was so rarely angry. Maybe try asking nicely. That seems more you. Oh, thank you, Fengi beamed, shuffling a bit on the floor before taking a breath. Would you please salute me, Saf? Fengi asked with big puppy eyes, ears hanging down by the side of her face, held tilted slightly. Hands held up in front of her and clenched together. She looked almost like a beggar, Saf noted, as she tried to feel if anything had happened, not noticing anything. Did you feel anything? Saf questioned, looking at Fengi with a wide smile. I don't know. A little? Fengi replied almost questioningly. Did you? Something, I think, Saf lied, hoping maybe a bit of confidence would help. Oh, that's so awesome. Again, Fengi went as she repeated the procedure, looking even more adorable. Saf felt like a damn hard might melt before she noticed her hand actually twitch a little. Wow, fuck, she's not kidding, Saf went to herself, looking down at her hand. She hadn't been expecting Fengi to be lying, but still, this was so rare from what she knew. She didn't even know anyone who could do that. Well, until now at least. I think you want to focus on that feeling. You should be able to choose how much energy you are using. Okay, I'll keep trying, Fengi replied enthusiastically, closing her eyes as she tried again, this time seemingly to no effect. Fengi kept at it, trying different commands, tones, expressions, and whatever else they could think of. Some made Saf's hand twitch a little. Others achieved nothing, no matter how hard Fengi tried. Micah came back with rope and fire-starting supplies after a while, walking over to check upon them. So, how are you two doing? He questioned, giving them both a nod. Nothing bad has happened at least, so that's good, Saf replied. Fengi let out an annoyed sigh. It's not doing much, to be honest. Just keep at it. Trust me, I had a hard time of it too. Not the easiest thing in the world to know if people are able to notice you or not. I guess, but still, I feel something. Might just be making it up, though. Maybe I'm so weak it's useless, Fengi replied, looking a bit disheartened. Oh, come on, you. You haven't even been at it for an hour yet. You'll get it, I'm sure. Thanks, Fengi sighed. Though she was still smiling, she tried again. Saf, would you salute me, please? She pleaded. Saf sighed as she felt her hand twitch a little before looking to Maiko. Heard any news on Nanook and Quillin? Quinn lost a lot of blood, Maiko replied, with a slightly strained expression. She's going to be in for a tough time. The two daughters are still working on the Nook. They sound confident, though. Acid is all gone. Please don't tell me I might have gotten Quillin killed, Saf all but pleaded, looking up at him as Fengi seemingly took a bit to collect herself. I don't think so. But you might want to consider helping tend her bedside for the next while, you know. Try and make up for it? Saf cut him off, getting an affirmative shrug from Maiko. Tom had been helping Bo with tying in the last of their rope over some of the padding from Major's armour, when Anka, Jackie and Essie arrived. Tom set off the dragon, going to see just what they brought to help. Jackie ran right at Tom as soon as she touched down, not even bothering to take off the 2 cords of rope she had over her shoulders. She yanked him off the ground, squeezing him till his back cracked, nuzzling his head rather violently. She didn't say anything, Tom wondering if her hearing had gone again as he returned the hug as best he could from his current position. I see you lived through that little stunt, he asked, as he gave the side of her neck a quick kiss. You crazy woman. It was fucking awesome. Did you see it? I saw it, Tom confirmed in a strained voice, squirming a little in her grasp. The rope was rather uncomfortable, not to mention her breastplate. Jackie, hurts a bit. Oh, shit, sorry, she went, putting him down and dusting off his shoulder like that would do anything. Anyway, right, so I didn't even know if that would work, but remember that Tom Cruise guy you showed me? The Impossible Mission or something? Yes, Tom replied, wondering just how that had anything to do with this. You know the scene with the plane, right? Where he hangs off the side? Tom just nodded, a slight smile crawling onto his face. He loved seeing her this excited. More importantly, she didn't look like she had a scratch on her. I honestly didn't know if that would even work. He just came past and I went for it. I hung with my knife, I bent it a bit, but it worked. Oh, Shiva is going to be mad, Tom snickered, as she drew the now crooked knife. Oh, come on! I killed a dragon, she'll understand. Yrrol seemed to squirm a bit on the ground, Tom glancing at her. She looked less than pleased, to say the very least. Glera let out a low growl, burying her teeth in a sneer like a dog, looking down at Yrrol. Right, sorry I killed your friend. He was kind of an ass, though, Jackie went, looking at the dragon a bit uncertainly before turning back to Tom. Anyway, so I shoot the bastard that was on his back with my shotgun. He goes fucking everywhere, right? Then the dragon snaps at me, trying to eat me, and I just scoot over to the other side of his back, she continued, actually laughing at the last part. So I reloaded and moved up to the base of his neck. I thought about putting it into his neck from there, but I didn't think that would kill him, she continued. Tom shaking his head in agreement. No, I don't think so either. We might need something for that, actually. Anyway, so I jumped onto his head. Did you see that? She continued, excitement nearly overwhelming her. Sure did, Tom chuckled with a wide smile. He tried to shake me off, but I was having none of it. So I just stuck my gun in his ear and pulled the trigger. Very inventive, Glera praised, looking down at the Huntress. I know, right? He was dead on the spot. Didn't think it would work that great, like maybe a few rounds, but no, instantly dead. I think you popped a good portion of his brain there, Tom replied, thinking that one over. Yeah, that would do it, I think. Hell, the pressure alone. So in other words, I got you your trophy, she preened, resting her fist against her hips, looking as proud as he had ever seen her. Tom wasn't quite sure what to say in this situation. He kind of wanted to scold her for being so reckless, but she was so damn happy, and there was no fucking way he couldn't agree that was awesome in the extreme. In the end, he decided to just shut up, instead lifting the bundles of rope off her. Jackie stood looking at him in confusion until he leaned in against her chest, giving her a rather less brutal hug as he just held her. Ah, Jackie let out, patting his head, ruffling his hair a little. I might have broken the gun, though. You what? It blew up, Jackie went, showing him her lower right arm that she had been hiding till now. It's not bad at all, just hurts a bit. Oh, you lucky bastard, Tom let out, looking her arm over. Slight burns and a bit of blackening, though it had clearly been cleaned already. Well, I did just kill a dragon. Damn right you did, Tom had to agree, giving her a fresh hug. Okay, I'm confused again now. She gets points for brutally murdering a dragon, while I get scolded for taking one alive, just a bit too viciously, Glera replied mockingly. Come on! She's my girlfriend and she might have saved the keep, Tom retorted. You didn't need to be brutal. Just let it lie, he relented. You did a fine job too. Glera just huffed, looking at the few wooden planks they had brought. Bring that over here. I guess it would have to do. Did you bring the mine? Tom questioned, looking back to Jackie. Anchor has it, she replied with a nod, looking back at the man in question, who came walking over, presenting the weapon very carefully, clearly not trusting it. Thank you very much. Now, time to get some insurance against snapping, Tom replied, taking the mine and looking to Yrrol, who was once again glaring at them, Glera tilting her head. What's that? A bomb. One capable of blowing the dragon's head clean off, Tom replied, pointedly, while staring down at Yrrol. Anchor, you hold the detonator. She does anything stupid, blow her head off. Glera, hold her down, would you? We're going to tie it to the back of her head. And you called me cruel, Glera replied, eyeing the device. Yrrol pulled her head back away from them a bit before Glera planted a foot firmly in her head, keeping her in place once again. I recommend staying still for this one. Maiko had spent a few minutes trying to convince Saf that Quillen was going to be fine, and it wasn't her fault. She just sighed and listened to him. She knew it wasn't her fault. She had plenty of excuses. Didn't mean she couldn't have done better. She just comforted herself with the fact that the source wound should recover from blood loss easily enough. Then she felt Fengi go and give her a tight hug, clutching tight around Saf's chest, head pushing in under her arm like a scared kid. Oh, come on, I'm fine, Fengi, Saf chuckled, wincing a bit as pain fled in some of her wounds. Please, Saf, salute me. Come on, Fen, that's damn near cheating, Saf sighed to herself, as she turned down to look at the younger Huntress, being greeted with the sight of her own hand coming up at remarkable speed. Ow! She shouted out, as she smacked herself in the face. Fengi went limp, her grip failing as she fell over backward, Micah just managing to keep her from slamming her head onto the floor. I guess she cracked it, Micah let out, blinking twice as he held Fengi's head before looking up at Saf, who was just sitting there staring. I think so, yeah. Oh, what are you looking at? She scolded, as Micah began to snicker. I see you finally learned to outrank you. Oh, fuck you. Is she okay? She's breathing, Micah confirmed after a brief check. Saf letting out a relieved sigh. What happened? Richard questioned, running over, apparently having kept an eye on them. I think she figured out how to use more energy, Saf replied with a shrug, as she slowly managed to get her hand back down. It worked very well, though. Girls are natural, Mako chuckled. I doubt she's coming back for a bit, though. By the gods, Richard replied, rubbing his temples. I'll fetch some water. We can't have her interrogate a damn dragon like this. I told you this was a bad idea, he went, gesturing at Fengi. Also, what if she had broken something in your mind, Saf? We don't know how this works. Oh, now you have objections? Saf asked in a mocking tone. Well, do you have any bright ideas? Want her to practice on the prisoners? Doesn't sound much better to me. Saf snapped back at him, looking at the prisoners out of the corner of her eye. No, I'll... Just wait for Essie to fetch the mages. Ask them, Jordan too for that matter. Maybe they know of a better way. Or at least, if it could hurt anyone to keep trying. Aside from her passing out. If there was a better way to learn magic than just trying, I think we would have heard of it by now, Saf defended herself. It wasn't like she had a chance of knowing, even if there was. For the record, I'll call this one hell of a success, Mako chuckled, looking up at Saf as he picked up Fengi, moving her to sit against the wall. I guess so. I wonder if... Ow! Saf cursed as she smacked herself in the face again. Damn it! Oh no, did something happen? Esmeralda cried out. It sounded like she was in the grand hall. Rapid footsteps now approaching. Fengi! She shouted out as she rounded the corner, dashing towards Micah, who just held up a hand smiling. She's fine. Just a little spent, it would seem. Oh, thank the gods. Did it work? Can't stop saluting, Saf sighed with a rueful smile. Vigon let out a snigger as Rakshasa peeked out over Essie's shoulder, also letting out a little snigger and saluting Saf in return. Essie just shrugged. I had to let them know I was alright, she apologised, looking back at the clean kid. Of course, Saf replied in a warm tone, willing her hand back down. So I think this is progress, but the whole plan about going there right now might be a little problematic. I see. Well, I guess we have time to work on a draw first then. Puma and Lancaster are busy with Nanook. Lancaster wasn't sure the trick with the horn could work if Fengi doesn't know what she's doing. She was willing to give it a shot tomorrow, though. Oh, and while you might go a little weird in the head, it shouldn't be permanent. From what she read, the effect doesn't last. Maybe avoid training on someone from the keep when using Janora, though. We won't, Saf replied with a nod. And don't let her order you to do something dangerous, of course. Of course, Saf echoed, looking down at Fengi before taking a second to consider what would happen if Fengi told someone to slit their own throat. A chill ran down her spine. Imagine if that flaxen bitch could have done this. Everything alright? Yeah, just dandy. We'll take her up to Myra so we can keep an eye on her. Good idea. Would you mind taking her? Essie went, holding out Janora. Saf taking her and putting the toddler down on her good leg. I'll find a cradle for her. Probably smart, Saf went, tickling the kid a little and getting a happy little shriek in reply, though the toddler's smile vanished as she looked up at Saf's Spanish face. It's Sapphire, don't worry, I'm not scary, she went in the most reassuring tone she could, sticking her tongue out a bit before trying another tickle. She got another giggle from Janora, though she kept looking at Saf's face. Don't worry, Saf. I'm sure you'll still be the envy of all the girls when you get that off. Essie chuckled as she walked off with Rakshasa, making his way around into her arms. Saf just rolled her eyes at her, looking back to Janora. We need you to help us, okay? We need your magic. Remember that? Magic? Nick, came the cute little reply, followed by a proud little shriek from the little dragonette. Very good, Saf praised, giving Janora a finger to play with as a reward. Magic? Nick, came the reply again, followed by the cutest little laugh. Okay, now... Sapphire, she went, pointing at herself. Ray, came the proud reply. Saf tilting her head before letting out a little sigh, still smiling. Seems you have been outdone, Micah chuckled, giving Janora a little head scratch. Haha, funny, Saf chuckled, bouncing Janora a little on her leg as the two played. How are you holding up, Jarix? Done trim yet? Saf questioned, looking up at the dragon as she kept bouncing the baby. I'll live. It hurts so bad, though, the dragon all but whimpered, looking like he was struggling to hold it together right now. Bad news, Redexy went, walking past Saf towards the dragon while carrying 2 buckets of soapy water and brushes. It's about to get worse. Oh, this is going to suck, Jarix let out, ears flattening completely to the back of his neck. Afraid so, Zarkin confirmed, looking to Saf. You might want to go someplace else with the little one. This is not going to be pretty. The sight of the lieutenant walking up to Jarix's head holding a large log convinced Saf it was probably for the best to get moving. They really needed to get Fengi into bed too. Come on, Miko, I need you, bud. Saf went, as she moved to try and get up. Bud, have I been demoted? He chuckled, helping Saf to her feet. I'll come back for you, sleepyhead, don't go anywhere, he went, looking at Fengi, who seemed to be fast asleep, tongue hanging out a little. They are going to be a bit, Jackie announced, as she sat down with more supplies for patching the drill back up. Many more planks, a hammer, and nails for making the splints for the busted wing limbs. Are they having trouble? Tom questioned, as he helped her place down the planks in the correct position. He still didn't get how she could fly holding on to something like that, but with her falling start it seemed to work. No doubt she couldn't take off normally with them though. Fengi fainted and Saf apparently got stuck saluting, Jack replied with a shrug, looking like she didn't understand that either. Okay, not the best of starts, Tom replied. He felt the wind coming from her drill as she sighed a sigh of relief. Don't you feel smug just yet? Esmeralda went, looking at the black dragon. The Huntress had been entrusted with the detonator for the time being. The mine was currently lodged and tied in place, between the dragon's horns on the back of her head. Her drill didn't respond, obviously, her mouth having been tied shut. It happens, Glira added from above, as she worked on the leg, trying to set the bone, which was really hard to do when you didn't have thumbs. Her drill's smug demeanour was soon broken as she winced in pain again, Glira likely having done something unpleasant. That's what you get, Tom sighed as he got back to work. Any idea how long till we can get a try in? Well, she kinda has to wake up first. Fair enough. So, is someone camping out here then? Tom questioned, looking up at the sun, which was starting to hang a little low. Well, I heard somewhere you might want to try camping under dragon wings, Jackie let out, giving him a little poke to the side. Tom just looked at her rather unimpressed. He would have preferred to go back to the keep, both to see them read up close and check up on Jarix and the others. Specifically, what the 50 cow had done and the burn wounds. Perhaps have a look at the brigands too, for that matter, to see how the shotguns are performed. But then I won't get to see your trophy, he tried, doing his best to sound devastated. Shit, that's right. It's really nice, actually. He was a fine young lad. Well, until I blew his brains out. Of course. Only the best, after all, Tom chuckled, wondering just what they were going to do with that thing. He looked big. Bigger than Jags, that was for sure. And he was now a trophy, he guessed. Was that okay? Could you hang a sentient thing from a wall? It seemed like that was not something you would do. Tom pondered it for a second before deciding he might as well just ask. Surely he was surrounded by people who would know. What are we going to do with a red dragon corpse anyway? I don't know. The head would probably look nice in the Grand Hall. Remind everyone who comes to visit not to mess with us. Jackie let out proudly. Yeah, I should probably have guessed that. Tom went to himself. Not quite sure if he agreed with her on that one. Maybe tap us some blood? I'm sure Lancaster wants that. Maybe some other bits and pieces. I wonder if you need bits of red dragon for that potion you bought way back when, she carried on, seeming to ponder that last one for a second. Oh right, those things, Tom replied, thinking back to the flame breath potion he had bought off of Archer months ago. I really should have bought that one, shouldn't I? You sure it's safe for humans? Jackie questioned, looking at him skeptically. I guess not, but how would I ever find out? You're starting to sound like Tink, Jackie replied, as she started hammering the board in place. What else could I? Tink Hansen. Jackie cut him off with a snicker, as she got out some more nails. Or Tom the Hypocrite, Glira added. What was that about camping? Oh, he was just sad he didn't get to camp out with Jax and Tigran a few days ago, Jackie replied, before Tom got a say in the matter. I just said that sounded cozy, Tom protested, holding up his hands. Jackie tapped the board where he had been holding with the hammer, Tom dutifully getting back to holding it in place. Which means you wanted to try it, Jackie replied, clearly unfazed as she kept working. Glira, are we going to need something bigger if this is going to hold? Well, maybe I can find a big tent pole somewhere, Glira joked before turning to Tom. Do you trust in that device of yours? Yeah, it will work, Tom replied with a nod, not wanting to show doubt in front of the dragon, likely doing calculations right now on whether running could somehow work out for her. So, I'll be able to go fetch some heavier materials? Sure, I brought Seth's shotgun, Jackie replied for him, looking up from her work, pulling a smile that let her now fall out of her mouth. I'll keep the rifle trained on her remaining eye just in case, Tom added with a sigh, looking at what they had been building. The boards were fine with some of the broken bits of her drill's wings, but not the main bones of her legs. They needed big beams for that, which only a dragon could possibly carry. Well, unless he got out the quad bike. I could probably drag them here otherwise. Nah, dragging is faster than dragging, Glira chuckled, looking down at their work. I'll get to it. Saf winced as Shax roared out again, the sound only somewhat muffled by the log he was trying to chomp down on. They had moved to her bedroom, but they could still hear it reverberate throughout the keep. Poor fucking bastard, Saf thought to herself, as she looked at the still sleeping Fengi to see if the noise had woken her up this time. It would seem not, as the rather serene-looking Fengi didn't even stir in the bed. Saf could still see her chest moving up and down, so all should be well on that front. If anything, Jarrett's cries alleviated them of the need to try and wake her up. Saf sure couldn't sleep through that noise. Arguably more incredible was that Jinora was also still sound asleep in the cradle Essie had brought up to them, though the toddler let out an odd little sound every now and again. For now, Seth and Maiko sat and chatted about everything that had just happened. All the kills dropped on the way back, what had happened back at the keep while Seth was away and so on. Unkei had dropped by to check on Fengi once he learned what had happened. It was only a short visit though, as the healer was rather desperately needed to help tend to the brigands. Apparently one more had already died of their wounds, though another two had been found in the fields. One had limped back to the keep to surrender, the other being spotted from above by Anchor as he came back for more supplies. Seth and Maiko had assured Unkei they would take good care of her, and that they would let him know as soon as she woke back up again. Seth had tried to convince Maiko to go help out the others, since hands were clearly needed. He had point blank refused, stating he had been told by Colt to keep an eye on her, so he would do so. It wasn't like she minded the company. He took her hand, looking into her eyes with a warm smile. I bet you're going to look so badass when that eventually comes off. No, you were just trying to make me feel better, Seth replied, not sure she should sigh or chuckle. No, thinking about it, you're going to look like a warrior princess or something. You think I look like a princess? Seth chuckled. Come on, dude. No, I guess that's not fair. Your jaw is straight after all, not some poor inbred fucker. Maiko chuckled, as Seth shook her head, actually letting out a snicker at that. Classy. Better not pull that one with actual royalty around. Have you met many princesses before? Seth questioned, leaning forward. I guess I kinda have. Not met as such. I did shake hands with Aquilani once. She's a tough woman too, that's for sure. Not all show and no go then, I take it, Seth questioned, leaning back in her chair with a warm smile on her face. Hell no, she'll rip you apart. She's the one that taught me that joke though. Sense of humour too then. I think I'm outmatched, Seth joked, thinking back to when she had sort of met that particular princess in the war room of the royal palace. Oh gods no. If you ask Victoria, then she's not the smartest and certainly not the calmest, but only the dumbest would ever challenge her to a straight fight. She's telekinetic like you actually. Oh, Seth questioned, taken aback. She wasn't quite sure what to think of that particular piece of news. Bloody good one too. Then I guess that comes with being in Leviticus. That, and I'm sure there's a bit of unicorn horn at work too. Maybe an expensive potion or two. You never know with people like that. What has her family got to do with it? Seth questioned with a head tilt. I've always been told it's random. I don't know, but I haven't even heard of a member of the royal family that didn't excel in magic. She could push you to the ground with nothing but a flick of the hand. Saw her do it in a duel once. Just like that, Seth went, doing the dismissive motion with her hand, looking skeptically at Maiko. Yup, just like that, Maiko confirmed. It was just a sparring session, I think, but still, I was damn impressed. I might need to spend more time with Jinora, Seth mused, thinking of just what she might be able to achieve with that kind of power. Sure, she could probably move someone a bit if she wanted to, but not without anything like Fengi. What do you think would happen if little Jin gave you a boost? She asked, looking at Maiko. I don't know. Go invisible, maybe, he joked, looking at the little kid. Huh. Before I know it, you've stolen everything I own and I'll never see you again. Oh, please. I just want your heart. That was terrible. Really? I thought it was quite endearing, Maiko let out, suppressing a laugh. The floor is still an option, you know. And if I have your heart, it's not. I think you need that. I don't know. I wasn't really hard as bitches over the years. Now. You mustn't talk about yourself like that, young lady, Maiko replied with a joke, standing up and doing a rather well-honed impression of an old aristocrat. Lady? I don't seem to recall dumping you for some prancing noble recently. Hey now, I'm very noble. I can prance with the best of them. Compared to... Never mind, Seth replied, looking at Fengi. What does blood matter anyway?